Alright everybody, it's BrickBuilder here, and welcome back to the Minecraft Let's Build series where we work on a desert village. In last episode we ended off with this planning over here, and now today we are going to start actually getting some of these plans into place. We need to get them all built and all completed. They won't obviously all be completed today, but the goal is I would like to get just this one over here at least completed. This is going to be a main tower. It's a little bit of a small build, but it's going to be a tall build, and I think it's really going to look good. And these towers will probably be built in other spaces as well, so I'd like to keep them somewhat basic, so that way they're easily replicated, because that would just be super duper convenient from a building standpoint to be able to put like a couple of these in some easy spots, you know, such as those other spots right there where they need to go. And then I'm going to need some stairs, so let me just get those. Beautiful. What we're going to do is we're going to do this thing up here. And then, you know, this is going to be a pretty nice looking tower. I don't really think there's going to be much actual functionality in these houses and towers that we're building over here, other than this is just going to be sort of a residential area. And also, we really want this area just to kind of make the town kind of feel more completed, because truth be told, I think we're doing pretty good on the town at the moment, and I'm not really sure what else we need to add. Besides kind of just, I feel like, wrapping the whole thing up, sort of. Although we're definitely not anywhere near completion. And obviously, there's always things you can add to your Minecraft builds. What we're trying to do here is we are trying to get a sense of closure and where everything seems full, which is definitely something that a lot of builders struggle with. So one of the key importances is you need to make the area kind of feel filled and have kind of like a presence, like which you can very clearly tell. I mean, if you looked at any of the builds in this place, they all share a similar theme and style, and in addition to that, they also have tons of other things, you know, like they all share a similar block palette, which is obviously important, and they all look good together. That's another very important thing, is sometimes builds just don't really work together, so don't just force a build just to force it, you know. If it doesn't work, destroy it and don't use it. And now what we're going to do is we're going to do something like that. Yeah, I definitely like this design we've got here, just because it gives a nice kind of indented and I guess fortified look, as you can see from a distance. It looks pretty good, so I like it, and also it's definitely not hard to replicate at all. And then we can go like this, and I think we could honestly kind of just cap it off with a ton of these, right? We could do 1 2 3, and then we could do another 1 2. Beautiful. So this actually works out pretty perfectly here, because we can literally get this whole tower to look with the 3 things like there, which definitely look good because it's got a very structured and basic feel, which is great because, you know, whenever you're going to replicate a build, you want something that's not super hard to replicate, especially something that we're going to be doing in such mass scale like this. I mean, it's definitely not the biggest of scales I've ever seen, but I mean, it's still decently high considering the fact that we have to replicate it like 4 more times. I would prefer something that's not super impossible to replicate. And right here goes the way is it goes down more. Yep, there we go. Alright. And then we go over here and we keep it up here with this very indented and structured feeling, which I'm really liking. And then what we can honestly do is, what are we using for windows? We don't have any windows in this thing. But if we were to put windows there, I'd be down for that. So maybe we could take some glass, take some orange glass, and honestly, we could probably insert orange glass there and get away with it just for the little bit of, you know, texture, I guess, and also just difference in color, you know. Definitely want some of that. Now, we're not going to put windows on the bottom floor, only because then you'd actually be able to see in. And that's just not one of the things that we want to be part of the town, because if they can see in of a building where we're not planning on actually furnishing the inside anytime soon, it's just not going to help. I mean, this is really all I was planning on doing. Let me know if you guys think we really need to furnish the inside, but I personally don't really think it's necessary. And now over here, we're going to be building a bit of a shorter tower. Most likely, I'm thinking we go like this high. So this one here won't be nearly as tall, but it's still going to match a similar structure, just because the structure of these things is really going to be what defines the town. You know, we need to have that like similarity between all the different builds. So that's really going to help us with kind of justifying some of the decisions that we have for builds, you know. And it's definitely going to make everything look great at the end, which is very important when you're building, because you can't just think about, oh, well, this build looks great, but if you put a ton of builds around it that are terrible, it's not going to work. You need to make sure that whenever you're building, what you're building is something that actually works for what you're trying to do. Because not all the time will a build work, and if you force it, it's not going to be what you want in the end, and it's just going to kind of diminish the value of the surrounding builds. So you got to be careful with building. Like, you know, don't build an overabundance if it's not necessary in a certain area. It's just not going to make it look any better. So then we do is we go up here like this, and then what we're doing is, I don't know how we're actually going to be able to put these, because we're not going to have the same height as the other tower. So maybe we just do something like this, which still works, you know, and yeah, it definitely works. I like it, you know, because I do like the fact that we're really getting stairs here, just because it kind of adds a whole bit of really like an added vibe here with these stairs kind of thrown into the builds, because it will definitely help define the architecture, you know. It kind of proves that the town was, I guess, intelligent or capable of using like wedges slash, you know, like taking out sections of building blocks just from a real life, you know, standpoint, because you got to look at it from a lore perspective as well, you know, and little details like that can really help spice up an area. So then we got that, and then we're gonna be doing like pretty much one of the most boring roofs, but the reason why these birch roofs work so well here is because we have very nice birch roofs on some of the other builds. So the birch roof being simple on these definitely works. But if we were to do simple roofs on everything, it really wouldn't work out that well. I mean, prime examples right here. Like, look at how tall that roof is. Like, but if we were to put that on every single tower, it wouldn't really look nearly as good. So it's a good thing that we kind of figured out early on what we were going to do with the, you know, the roofs of these builds, because the roofs are definitely very important. And then we can just do something like that, and that is pretty good. I think what we're going to do is we should be able to throw the next tower up, because getting rid of all these tower spots definitely going to be a good thing in the long run. I mean, we got to get these towers all finished and wrapped up here. This one also isn't going to be too tall, because I definitely want the tallest one to be that one, just because it would make sense that the one nearest the town hall would be very tall, very powerful, and that'd be more where a more wealthy citizen would live. And no, we're not going to spawn villagers in this. Although we're in creative mode, there's no point in spawning villagers, and truth be told, we don't want to hear their little villager noises, to be honest. I mean, let's be real for 1 second here. Who wants to hear that noise over and over and over again? It just doesn't really make a lot of sense for us to want to hear that. So let's do this here, and then let's keep on going. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go up 3, put a space, and do upside down here. This one's going to have a slightly different design than all the other ones, because this is upside down on the top, which I definitely like, and we're probably going to implement it into the next tower as well, just because maybe that'll symbolize the tower was kind of like capped off or something at a much smaller height, which is definitely a-okay, you know. And then this, here we go. We definitely are misplacing a bunch of stairs, but you know, it's going to happen with a build like this where we're placing into an existing like wall structure. It can happen pretty easily, and then we got to throw our simplistic roof on the top here, you know. But the roof does really work, and it will definitely match all the other houses which we do have to build here, as you can see by the layout. It'll look pretty good in the end. If you guys didn't check out the layout, when you're done with this episode, you might as well go check out last episode where we actually lay out all this stuff, as well as do some other building projects, which you're definitely gonna want to see, because it was a pretty productive episode, so that's a good thing. But now this one here is also going to be equally productive. Now let's go right there, yes, and beautiful. Now we're on to the last tower for today's episode. If you guys have enjoyed so far, make sure to drop a like, and if you're new to the channel, subscribe. But let's get on going here with this tower, and this one here is gonna be a pretty short one, it would seem. Although actually maybe I'm kind of vibing a slightly taller one, I'm thinking. Let's go up like that many more blocks. I think that'll work, you know, because this one here is at a slight downside just because of the fact that it is already at a diminished height in comparison to the other towers, you know. That's one major disadvantage of this one right here. Also, though, it is slightly bigger, being 4 blocks wide instead of the usual 3. So this one here will have double door situation, you know, which, you know, I think could be pretty cool. The double door, boom, boom, the double door right there. And then gotta do this. But yeah, 4 blocks wide. It's not going to affect too much, besides the fact it's just going to be an actual bigger thing, you know. And no, I don't want to jump up auto jump. Like, why do you want to do this to me? Alright, but then what we're going to do is we're going to go like this here. We're going to go up 3. Honestly, I wasn't 100% aware that this one was slightly bigger. I might have been not 100% sure now looking back at this, but either way, it's definitely beautiful that we had this, because I definitely was planning on implementing a taller, bigger, like wider tower, but it looks like I don't have to, because that's now going to be right here. And then we'll do this, and we'll do that. Actually, no, we won't. We'll do that. Yeah, we will do this here, because I like this design. Just because we got to like make this one look different from the other ones, and that's a very key way to do it, is where it has this giant indentation that's very noticeable from a distance. So let's do that right there. Yes. And right over here, do the same, you know. Beautiful. And then we can do the same right up here. And that's a very basic but very awesome and sick looking design that really sets this one apart from all the other ones. I mean, the other ones definitely look good as well. I mean, all the builds in this place look pretty good since they match. And I think I'm a decent builder at least. So let's go ahead and put the roof on this. I mean, the roofs could be better, but as we said before, we want these simplistic roofs just to show that although these are maybe for the slightly wealthier, they're not, you know, the big houses like that one or whatever that'll be, and these two smaller ones will exist, you know. But we'll have to see when we get those, and maybe if we need more houses, we probably ending up will, but we'll see how it goes, just because we want to see, you know, how full we can kind of get the town to feel before we really plan anything else out, because I mean, we don't know how much space is realistically going to be left or going to be needed. And I don't know if we're going to need more smaller builds, because if you guys didn't watch the beginning of the series, you'll know that the whole beginning of the series was me really, I talked a lot about smaller builds and their importance in a like village or town setup. For instance, like this creeper head and this well and the little marketplace here, those are very important builds as well. But I think we're doing so good right now that I think we're going to wrap it up. I mean, if you've seen this right here, it looks pretty good if you ask me. I think we're really starting to kind of get a groove and move right now. But if you guys did enjoy, make sure to drop a like. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. I'll see you in another episode of Minecraft Let's Build. Bye!